Hello, my name is Lucas Carter, and I'm here to talk to you about the spring semester of behavioral management. To start off, I'm going to talk about the generation gap in the workforce and how the transition between these generations of business, the problems they can face. The generation gap in the workforce is starting to change drastically as the baby boomer generation is starting to retire out of the workforce. This leaves the burden on Generation X and millennials to take over most of the workforce and have a seamless transition. There's also the problem of millennials coming into the workforce and having to work with the remaining baby boomers. These two generations can have issues working together due to the fact that they have different beliefs about how an organization should run. The baby boomer generation believes that everything has to be done face to face and that hard work cannot be beat. While millennials more often view their job as a way to expand themselves, and they can also be a little bit more technologically savvy. And being more technologically savvy, millennials can usually find different processes to get to the same solution that can sometimes be easier and more efficient. Millennials also try to find the easiest and most efficient solution to a problem rather than brute forcing it with hard work, as I said, and most often use technology. These differing ideologies often clash in the workplace, and a good solution to this is proper communication. Proper communication can get past many of these hurdles, and once these hurdles are passed through making it clear what their process to the solution is, making it clear how it's going to get done, and you're not just trying to give yourself less work or you're not trying to do busy work, things will move much clearer throughout the generations. Proper communication will allow these two diverse groups to work efficiently as possible together despite their differences. Now, the responsibilities that businesses have in transitioning between generations includes not only relying on the same processes that worked in the past, but making up new ones and allowing new processes to come in to adapt to the new workforce that's coming into the business. Younger people will want and sometimes require to do things in a different way, and if a business stays stagnant with their business model, then issues may arise. For example, as the internet became popular, car dealerships have had to change their business model due to the fact that all the customers coming inside of the dealership know exactly how much their car costs, what the make is, what features they want, everything about it. So that takes away a lot of the traditional haggling that used to take place in these types of stores. And this is replaced with a more straightforward form of shopping, as if I'm going to the grocery store and picking up a product I'd pick up any day of the week. Businesses must also accept the responsibility of helping the baby boomers into retirement, whether that's be giving them access to their retirement funds fully and on time, or honoring their 401ks as they have promised. This will allow the oncoming workforce to believe in the company that they will support them throughout their life, even after they retire with the funds that they have set up. And now, with higher ranking members of the business retiring, it may be appropriate to give them a bonus or even a going away gift, like I said, to make it seem as if the company or organization cares about their employees, which will motivate the people still working to have a better work ethic. When businesses begin to onboard the new generations, they have to allow their opportunities to rise in the organization and take over the spots that are now vacant with people that are now retiring. While the most dramatic difference is between baby boomers and millennials, Generation X is also significantly different from either one. Businesses must also take into account how all the generations will be interacting together in the workplace. Generation X is different from the baby boomers, as while Generation X is not savvy with technology, they still try to find the most efficient solution to getting their problems taken care of. Overall, businesses need to take into account the responsibility of moving the baby boomer generation into retirement, making Generation X the higher ups in the organization, and implementing millennials into the workforce over the coming years if they would like to stay successful as an organization. Now, I'll talk about some of the subjects we learned this semester and how they relate to these generation gaps. One is we talked a lot about motivation and how to motivate employees. And as I was mentioning before, if you just, as these people retire, you just cast them aside and pretend they were never there, it'll demotivate all the current employees thinking, well, what am I going to do in 50 years when I have to retire? They're not going to support me. So it is important to support the people even after they're retired due to this fact. It is also important through motivations to have mutual respect between the generations. This is where that proper communication comes into play. If you don't have proper communication, there will be sides, rivals between generations. People think this generation doesn't know how to do this, or this generation can't do this. and that'll create major work conflict, and that is never a good solution. Now, speaking of workplace conflict, it will be inevitable with different generations just because of their different ideologies, but it can and must be minimized to have a successful organization. To help minimize this workplace conflict, you will really want to emphasize that we're all going to one same goal as an organization. You want to make that statement clear, your mission values, what you're working towards. Because as long as we're all working towards the same thing and we're all getting there, conflict will be minimized. Now to speak on emotions. We spoke a lot about emotions this semester and learned many things. Emotions have a major play in the effect of the business world. People think business is cut and dry, but people still have emotions and people still act on them even in these situations. To minimize conflicting emotions and maximize positive ones, you want to have a workplace that is comfortable for everybody to be in. People don't feel out of place due to these different generations. You want a place of communication again, and having a lot of comfort with everybody around. And now, lastly, I'll talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Well, yes, most of the people in our organization, just due to having a job, will meet first level, second level, having your basic food, support, having a baseline of friends from work. It is important to, as a company, to fulfill their further needs. Help them have a self-fulfillment in what they do. If they don't, their motivations will decrease. Their work ethic will decrease. Overall productivity will go down if Maslow's hierarchy of needs isn't met. Now, it isn't up to the organization as a whole, but they can do everything they can, such as maybe implementing intramurals or social gatherings of some sort between coworkers, so more friendships can evolve and people can feel more self-fulfilled in their lives. Overall, generation gaps, while different, can be successfully run together in a business if all of these strategies are implemented. Especially with the strategies we learned this semester, such as motivations, workplace conflict, emotions, and Maslow's hierarchy of needs, we can implement all these to have a successful business. For instance, I work in a server area dealing with many baby boomers at a time, and there's never an issue due to the fact of proper communication of what they need, how they want. If this is how businesses can always run, there won't be a problem. And thank you, Shu, for a great semester. You were one of the better professors I've had. So, logging off, this has been Lucas Carter.